wait, we are live. Are we? I hope so.
Yes, we are.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to welcome you on our monthly edition of Ask Us Anything About LinkedIn. Today, the cast is actually kind of similar with one edition in the past. It's Teddy and Dari on my, I believe, right. And probably you're here for Chris. He should be with us any moment soon, as he's kind of stuck in traffic, as per his latest message with us. But until we wait for him, how are you, girls? How is your Friday?
My Friday has been amazing. We draw straws between you and me on who to actually open this live, and I'm very happy that you are opening the live. It's been actually an amazing month, and things have been happening both on LinkedIn and our agency and our lives. I'm very happy that we have some news to share in today's live, things that we have observed. I'm very happy that we also have such an amazing guest to appear soon. Dari also had some difficulties today arriving at the office, but I see her smiling now.
Yeah, it's been a turbulent Friday for me as well. Yeah, plans changed last minute because somebody, electricity cut off in my building where I was supposed to stream from. As I was frantically exiting, I realized someone was, I think, installing an AC, and they had probably hijacked the whole electricity of my blog. So that's why, everything was off all of a sudden. So, I ran to the metro. I get to the stop where I'm supposed to get off of. There is a giant protest going on, further delays, but
We can
I'm
hear it.
in the end. I'm here in the end. But
But
yeah, if you
look
if
on the
you hear
bright
the honking sounds, that's what that is. The
look
protest
at
going on.
look at it from the bright side. At least you have a wonderful background just behind you.
If
Uh,
you see my background,
yeah.
you can see Emo is there. Oh,
I don't know if you can see, but behind me are both Emo's books and Alex's books, kind of averted, mirrored. But yeah, I think I have a pretty amazing background as well.
All right.
um,
So straight to the point. We are kind of talking nonsense now. Until we wait for Chris, hopefully to attend and to join us. We hope that the traffic in the UK isn't as bad as the one in Bulgaria and especially in Sofia. We have some interesting topics for you for today. We're just going to share a bit more about them, and further we'll go straight into some of them. We will speak more about the forbidden topics on LinkedIn, what you should and what you shouldn't speak on the platform, according to the majority of the probably users on LinkedIn. There isn't some national or international survey. It's just a matter of fact, according to our personal point of view and according to our personal expertise. And we are actually going to discuss, are there really any topics that you shouldn't discuss on LinkedIn, and what draws those prejudices, kind of. Then Teddy has something interesting to mention actually to you about videos, about new trends on in terms of design, in terms of newsletters, in terms of hooks. I heard actually she messaged me today. Let's keep it real. And of course, the probably the cherry on the cake would be the interview between Dari and Chris about his latest edition of the report, The State of Algorithm. So please, in case you want to ask Chris a question, hopefully if he attends, leave the questions now in the comment section, as there is kind of a delay between the comments we're receiving and um, the actual questions uh, you're writing. So make sure you leave the questions earlier, and we will make sure to answer to them in a timely manner once the topic is actually on point and actually in question. Don't hesitate to like, share, and follow us. Share this live stream so more people can have the opportunity to watch it actually. And just a small, probably mentioning here, in August we won't be having an edition of the Ask Us Anything, as the summer is going on, and we deserve some rest as well. Jai traveled half through Ada Sofia just to be here on time, so we want to give both her and everyone else from the team at least 1 hour from the Friday, from the first Friday of August, some rest. So yeah, I will start with my topic until Chris is here, and then in case he joins midway through, we will kind of stop it and finish it afterwards. Actually, the topic I chose to discuss today was something that I saw recently on LinkedIn. A friend of mine actually shared a publication, a post on the platform mentioning, if you're currently watching this, the person I'm referring to, I won't say any names due to personal reasons. If you're watching this, don't take it personally. Uh, we're doing it for the best. Um, she published, it's a girl, she published a post mentioning that she was part of many interviews, like she applied actually for 80 positions throughout LinkedIn, throughout jobs, throughout different platforms. She got like 20 probably interviews. I'm not quite sure about the actual number, but in between probably 15 and 20 interviews. And out of those, let's say 20 interviews, she received like 8 job proposals, and she rejected all 8 of them due to different reasons, like salary, like working hours, like conditions at all on the different positions. And actually she was applying for a position as either office assistant, or at one point she got desperate probably and applied for positions. It doesn't mean that working the things I'm going to mention means desperate, but in her own language, she sounded a bit desperate. She applied for a waitress. She applied for like front office in a restaurant, kind of the person who is welcoming all the guests. And why I'm mentioning this? Um, the users on LinkedIn just towards her due to several reasons. And yesterday, while I was speaking to her for about 30 minutes, I kind of drew the three main reasons why the hatred was going on and why actually people reacted that badly. And girls, afterwards, I will be glad to hear your opinion on the matter. Do you agree on? And eventually, if you have anything else to add. The first point was that she had a birthday recently, and the photo, the actual the post she published was along with a holding a cake, and the actual publication sounded a bit controversial due to the image. The image was kind of positive, rather positive actually, and the tone of voice and the actual message in the last sentence of the post was, "Where am I? Why am I wrong? And how can I understand which part of my process is wrong?" So this was actually the first part, that there was kind of miscommunication between the visual part and the actual text. This is actually we really stress while we work with our partners, with our clients, with people at all. There should always be a balance, like a comfortable balance between visual and written stuff. Doesn't matter if it's verbal, if it's non-verbal, like in text. So yeah, this was the first point I drew. The second point was that she just didn't didn't voice out um, the all the factors and all the reasons why she rejected those, let's say, 8 job proposals. She just wrote down, "I rejected them." No reasons, no anything. Just the explanation was missing. Therefore, probably people and the users on the platform thought she's probably a bit dramatic, and she's kind of dreaming about the perfect conditions, and she doesn't really want to work, and she's looking for something probably miraculous. And the last part that I mentioned, which is probably the most important one, is that there is a proverb, like a metaphor, a slang in Bulgarian. You don't go to catch fish if you're not ready reactions. The case here was that 2 or 3 different people from the HR industry, some of the respected, let's say, HRs in Bulgaria, just reacted toward her posts with specific comments, and then even one of the HRs took the publication and recycled it, like kind of reused it into his own post, bringing more traffic and more comments and more kind of hatred. So currently, my questions towards you is, Teddy, probably first for you. Do you believe that there are some topics that you shouldn't talk about on LinkedIn? And is there actually a place for hatred towards such type of stories that she shared?
Hmm. Mhm. Thank you for this question. It is a bit of a controversial topic, even amongst us as marketers and content creators, because a lot of people do censor themselves, um, and they feel like LinkedIn is a safe place for only, safe topics. I, on the other hand, have personally for me a bit of a moderate position where I, as a person, avoid talking about certain topics in general in my life. And those topics I do not bring to LinkedIn as well. For instance, only my close friends know that my position on politics. However, I do not bring this to any sort of a platform because I am a bit self-aware of whether I am qualified enough to speak about these topics. Now, on the other hand, I do not judge people who are raising their voices and raising awareness about topics like that. So I always try to remain positive both in when I am reading and reacting. However, there is hello, Chris. There is a certain trend right now that I'm seeing in LinkedIn where people are a bit more critical, especially towards younger professionals, as the story that you have just told, which I think that it is up to us as a bit of the older generation in LinkedIn, meaning not older by age but older by experience on the platform, to kind of remain supportive and to react and, well, I don't like this word, but police one another in order to keep LinkedIn as a safe place where people can share things, their own experience, without being judged, but instead being helped and guided in the right direction. So, to answer your question very briefly, no, I don't think there are forbidden topics on LinkedIn. It is up to the personal preferences, but it is also up to us as users to encourage first helping and then criticizing.
Yep. Thank you so much, Teddy, and hello to Chris. It's great to
Hi.
meet you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good, thanks. Sorry I'm late. The traffic on the way to my office is crazy.
Yeah, no worries. I was actually also stuck in traffic this morning, so. And to do a brief intro, I'm sure a lot of the people watching know who Chris is. He is practically a legend on LinkedIn, but he is one of the fastest growing creators. For just 2 years, he has got over 3 million followers. He is really one of the leaders when it comes to LinkedIn content. And today we were lucky enough to invite him here to talk about his latest report with Seesaw about the state of the algorithm. So, Chris, if you'd like to say a few words.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the thing I would say first and foremost is like I think I have a general belief that my journey on LinkedIn is not particularly special. It's just a result of like a lot of consistent, hard, strategic work. Like I don't feel like I feel like sometimes when you build a big social media platform, you can get elevated and people think so much more of you than they probably should. And actually, I think that the really nice thing about LinkedIn and other platforms is that ordinary people can, you know, take themselves to a completely different level. And so I've been building businesses for 15, 16 years, but since I've built my personal brand, the speed, the execution, the success that I've had in every business I've worked on has been so much greater. And so everyone will know that I obviously do the sort of like creator accelerator, and I teach people how to grow, business personal brands, as I would kind of call them. But I also run my businesses, and the LinkedIn thing I would say is a small part of what I do, but it has a massive impact on everything I do. And so I thought in terms of today, what I will try and do is give a bit of an overview on what's happening on the platform right now, as in what is important on the platform right now, what has changed on the platform right now, and then talk a little bit about, I suppose, like long term, how to be a good creator. And so someone was talking a minute ago about hate or like hatred or negatives on the platform. And the best way of dealing with hate, honestly, is just to ignore it. Like, I mean, I receive a fair amount of hate myself, and because people are, have a problem with me or whatever, and because they can't themselves do the work that's required to build a great personal brand, they think that you're cheating at the game. And actually, in reality, to build a great personal brand, no matter what tactics you use, is a huge amount of work. And so I just tend to ignore the people who are negative towards me. And I think that after a period of time, those people will go away. Can everyone see this report that I'm showing at the moment? Let me just double check if anyone can see this. Don't give me a yeah? Okay, fine, nice. So this is a report we released the other week, and it's accessible for everyone to get. It's completely free. The thing I always had a huge frustration with personally is the fact that all of the reports that I would download, and I was a complete nerd on LinkedIn when I started like 2.5 years ago. I would download these reports from all these like big names who were like, very pleased with themselves or whatever. But the report you'd often have to pay for, or the report would be based on data that was over 180 days old. And with a platform like LinkedIn that changes so much, like every 3 months, the platform goes through quite significant change. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to invest in this new startup, which is called Say What. and they help people do LinkedIn. But the reason I'm going to invest in them is that they will have the objective data on what's happening on the platform. And so I invested in the business, helped them launch the business and scale. And as a result, we can produce this report every quarter now based on 2 million posts. And so because it's based on 2 million posts and it's over the last 30 days of time, you have the most incredible look at what's working on the platform. Like I saw someone recently say that they've made their report paid for, like you have to buy their report. And I thought to myself, like, it's mad if the report is not only have to be purchased, but it's 180 days out of date. So the reason I use up-to-date data is that I think that the reason you maintain growth is by adapting to what's happening at the time. Like, or let's say, for example, that the topics I talk about for a second are things like AI, businesses, startups, productivity, personal development. That's broadly what I talk about. I talk about that all year round on all platforms. And yet the way that I talk about it, the format, the style, the execution changes all the time. You will notice my brand changes more than most. And so like in the last year, I would say I've had 4 different designs. Now I have this like green and bright colored one. But before that, I had a green and green one. And before that, I had black and green. Like I've adapted and changed my format to whatever's working at the time because I think it's so important. And when people tell you, by the way, to ignore the format and just post in the most authentic way possible, I would just say I don't understand what's inauthentic about posting what I was already going to post, productivity, startups, scale-ups, but posting it in the format that works best on the platform. Like right now, if you look at my Instagram, we've completely changed how we post on Instagram, and my account is flying again. The content is exactly the same, but the style and the execution is slightly different. And so to look at the report very briefly, one of the things that's very evident is that reach in general is down. And people will accuse me of like doomsdaying and being, you know, like really negative about the platform or whatever, and, you know, making it a negative place. But the reality is that reach is down. So it's like it's an objective fact. So when I started on the platform, it was much easier to grow, and so everyone should bear that in mind. But it is still, I'm not going to say easy, it's still very possible to grow now. And so what I would focus on yourself is what are the things that make the biggest difference between the highest performing creators. And I don't mean necessarily the big creators. I mean more like the creators who grow the fastest and see the most results. And so we try and pinpoint with our reports, you know, like what follower growth comes off the back of what activity. And so at the moment, and I'll find you the page for it in a second. At the moment, the most successful format on the platform for follower growth is carousels by a landslide, and yet it's not as good as it used to be. And so there is a change going on right now with the platform. And so if you're posting carousels right now, and let's say next month the success of carousels drops even further, your good strategy might become an okay basic strategy that might not work anymore. And so I was helping a friend of mine recently. She said, like, I've got great followers, I've got a great account, all this sort of stuff. What I want more than anything is I want leads to my business. And I was like, well, of course, isn't that what we all want? Like, who objectively cares about their follower growth? And so what we did with her content was we changed it up to being like infographics and cheat sheets and downloadables and lead magnets. And she now gets on average 5 to 10 leads a day, as well as has grown 5,000 email subscribers in the last month. Her follower growth has been okay, not amazing, not as good as it was. And yet you think to yourself, what's more important? And so quality content will break through the noise no matter what. And I think it's very important to always say that if you want me to point to one thing that matters the most, it is quality content. And so if, for example, you think about when my account took off, so January 2023, I started posting properly. It really took off when we all swapped to doing carousels because they performed the best. And then all of my friends who were doing carousels and whatever, they didn't make the change to like infographics and cheat sheets, and all of their growth stalled. And so my my advice to everyone on the call is like, you need to understand that point one is the best content you can possibly make ever. Preferably, and I would say this is more like a me thing rather than a report thing, I would say that the content that works the best for building audience and trust and value is education. It is helping other people to succeed. And one of the things that this report showed anyway, is that the requirement or the desire or the like of education content is the highest it's ever been. And so what matters at the moment in the algorithm, so if you want likes, contrarian hooks, actionable tips, powerful visuals, and I've sort of broken this down so you can look at it afterwards, and I'll send it to the team afterwards. I think if I was, because I have a short period on this call, but I think if I was to point to something, by the way, like if I was to point to one or two of these things to optimize towards, and like what do I optimize towards, for example, I optimize towards reposts and dwell time. And that might sound a bit strange, but like I don't care or count or think about the likes. I don't care or count or think about the comments. Like if I have a strategic objective, it is try and make content that is so good that someone else will repost it to their audience to give value. That is kind of the frame that I think about the whole time. And so how can I make content that is so good, so useful and so educational that someone's going to read the whole thing, and as a result, they're going to reshare it? So I think about dwell time. I think about repost more than anything. We've got a bit in here about suggested content that you can look at, which I think is like useful. You'll see at the moment this is happening, if anyone can recognize this on the platform, but older content is resurfacing. Can someone in the chat tell me what that means, or have a go at telling me what that means? It's like really obvious what it means.
I mean, yeah, the chat sadly is slightly delayed, so I think it's gonna be me or someone from the code joining in. But what I think us and a lot of other people have noticed is you have these suggestions like from a week, 2 weeks old. So I would say it's pointing towards a change. That change that you were talking about, the fact that we have to keep up with what the platform is pushing forward. So right now it's kind of strange, I would say, because you have more and more suggested content. You have suggested content that goes back, people that you follow, but that have posted, a while ago, or completely new accounts, completely new people. So it's quite strange. It's not what we're used to, I would say.
If I can give a slightly altered view for a second, I think it's because there's not enough content. Because like if you think about the very nature of the platform wants you to engage at like an unbelievable rate continuously. That's their business model, is based on our clicks and attention. And so if they had enough content to serve us that was interesting enough in the moment, they would serve us that content if it was fresh. But they are serving us old content because there's not enough. And so someone the other day, I did the keynote at Craft and Commerce, and the first question I got was, why did you decide to go all in on LinkedIn when you did? And the answer is very, very obvious. It's like there's 1 billion people on the platform and 1% post. And like, if you're a business person, you think, okay, where is the gap? If you work in like, I don't know, you work in finance, or you work in marketing, or you work in law, you can then look at how many lawyers there are on the platform and how many posts. And I reckon it's an even smaller percentage of people post. And so you create a gap. And so I think that there's not enough good quality content on the platform, is our assumption anyway. We talk about this a little bit. This is worth reading afterwards, but the TikTokification of the platform. Now, LinkedIn are pushing very heavily towards video. They're spending as much as they possibly can on new creators coming to the platform, incentivizing people to use video. Personally, I don't think it's driving followers right now. And so if you're doing it, you should do it from like a brand building perspective. And I don't mean like personal brand necessarily, but getting people to buy into you, getting people to buy into your brand, your quality, what you're about, your story. And that's a criticism I give myself, by the way. I would criticize the fact that my account is quite robotic in its approach. Like it is very, lead generation focused. And so if I criticize myself, I pass on the same knowledge to all of you, which would be like, I think I would like more people in my audience to know that I have built 4 big companies. I think that would be like a real credible standpoint. And so I need to talk about those stories more effectively. If
Yeah.
you're, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say while we're exactly on this slide, we actually have a question from the chat from a couple of minutes ago asking about mistakes. So, which are like the top 3 mistakes, new users on LinkedIn make that aren't necessarily related to the algorithm, but just, generally to, I guess, their strategy in the platform.
Sorry, the line cut out. I didn't hear that question. What was the question?
Which are the top 3 mistakes new LinkedIn users make that
Mm.
aren't related to the algorithm?
So I think a lot of people will say like post for yourself and your audience, not the algorithm, and that is fair. Like at the end of the day, we're posting for people. We're not posting for some like objective black box somewhere. But I would say that the mistake that people make is they will create content that is like so incredibly personal, and as a result, because it's so incredibly personal, people can't share that to their audiences, and so by default that content can't really reach outside of your own circle, and so you never really break out. You can't go beyond your 1,000 followers. Whereas if you think about like the content that made my account really was like like how to be productive, how to build a company, how to like personal development in general. And so someone can see something I post about productivity or personal development, and they can be like, I really resonate with that. I'm going to pursue that, but I also want to share it with my followers because it's applicable. And so I think sometimes making too personal content is a big one. The second one I would say is like not understanding that there is multiple parts to a successful post. So you have the hook, you have the body text, you have the call to action at the end, you have the visual, like the multimedia element. So like forgetting that you are like, the world is so competitive, and to forget that you are competing for eyeballs against everyone is a big mistake. Like if like I always say, if it was so easy, everyone would do it. Like if it was so straightforward, if I get accused a lot of like cheating and hacking and all the rest of it, and it's like, guys, in my startups we try and grow as fast as physically possible. That is what we do. We try and grow our business as fast as possible. So when it comes to social media, we do the exact same thing. And so, but when people think that my account grows because like 5 of my buddies comment on my post, I'm like, like
No.
there is so much, like if that was the case, everyone would do that. If that was the case, like everyone that you see would comment on each other and really succeed. And so, yes, it's useful, but there's so many different elements to why posts are successful. And I think fundamentally it has to be a good post and a good idea. And then the last thing I would say is, has anyone ever heard the concept of like outliers? So like an outlier would be like, I would find someone who has 1,000 followers, but they have a post that does 10,000 likes, but their normal posts do like 100 likes. That 10,000 like post is an outlier. And so a lot of what I teach people is like, why did that post succeed as well as it did? Like, let's study that post, because it's not about the creator at that point. The rest of their posts get 100 likes. Let's study why that post was successful. And if that post happened to be about, for example, sleep, like sleep and getting your sleep at night and whatever, really relatable topic. And if you talked about sleep, okay, interesting, I should make a post about this. I'm not going to copy the post because that's horrendous and people do that to me all the time, but I'm going to take the post, recreate it in a new style that fits me, but on the same concept. And I try and teach people that like there aren't that many new ideas in the world, and so why don't you use what's in front of you? I thought just in terms of time, I would focus a little bit on this.
Yep.
So I spoke about this at the start. So by the way, I'll send you this report and you can send it to anyone and everyone. But education content still wins. So it is performing better than every single other part of the content. And people will be like, oh, I want more personal content. That's fine. If you personally feel that you need more, great. But do know that you are going against the statistics. Right? By not posting education supportive content for your audience, you are going against what works. So That's not my opinion. That is the stats. And so another way of looking at this is like, you want to stimulate real human discussion. So stop using AI in comments. Stop using these like automatic responders. They are gross and they don't work and they stop conversation. Like, if you comment on my post and it's a real comment and not an AI comment, I am likely to see it because I am so dialed into the platform myself. If you comment with an AI, I won't even, I'll notice because I'm so instinctive about I'll be like, that's an AI comment, I'm not replying. Because if you can't be bothered to comment on my post, I'm damn sure I'm not replying. You know, so don't forget, while we play the algorithm game and we play the game of marketing and all these things, don't forget we're people. And so that's a nice takeaway for people to anchor on. So this is one of my posts. That post drove 7,000 followers, just for context. That one post. And this post from Nick drove like thousands as well. This is a good one about strategy, but people always like, I like to have the weekend off. Like, so do I. Of course I do. I like to hang out with my wife. But at the same time, you know, weekend posts perform way better than weekday posts. And the reason for that is that less people are posting on the weekend, but everyone's still online. And so if you can make the content in the week and just post it on the weekend automatically, you're winning. You know, it's not a huge amount of work, but you're going to get better proportional returns from doing that. And maybe take Monday off, you know? Like, if you're going to take a day off, don't take Saturday and Sunday off. It's kind of my point always.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point, because for a very long time I feel like LinkedIn has been regarded as a professional platform. So people are like, "Oh yeah, we're going to post within working times," which is just, we see it from the report, but it's a bit of an outdated view on the platform itself. So yeah, really great advice.
Yeah, I always say this, and I often reckon this is why LinkedIn never like give me a top voice or any support, because I always say this thing, but I believe this to be true, which is like, when LinkedIn give you advice, you definitely want to ignore it. Like, it's not because I don't like LinkedIn, but like, if they give you advice to post videos, it's because they want videos on the platform, not because videos are doing well. And so I always say, like, as a creator, as an entrepreneur coming up, building your brand, you want to do as well as you can. And so give yourself the unfair advantage. So this is a good one. So like, when should you post? People ask this question nonstop. I would just post. I mean, you can look at this, and this is really useful to work out statistically when's best. I just post for when my main customer is online. And so I live in London. I'm from the UK, but the majority of my customers are from the US, and so I post at 8 a.m. Eastern time, which is 1 p.m. GMT or BST, or 12 p.m. BST. And so I'm posting for my American audience because they are the ones that are, predominantly buying my products. So it's a good one to bear in mind. We're always posting for human beings. A general rule on comments: you want to go longer. You want longer comments, more human comments. There's this annoying, I got so much flack for this last week, but again, I don't really care. Like, it's, it's like an objective fact. It's not my opinion. Like, the top 5 creators comment 282% more. So that's 160 comments a week. Which is a lot, I suppose, but it's maybe like 20 a day, 25 a day. And so when you break it down like that, it's not that much. And there are people out there. There's a dude called like Jasmine, and he would say like, I reckon he comments thousands of times, and like, that's his thing, like lots of commenting and building audience and so forth. So like, he's probably the upper end of like high quality personalized comments going out, and that really works for him and builds community. And then you've got people who don't comment. I'm somewhere in the middle. But can you do 10 to 20 comments a day? Of course you can. And then if you're like me and you're busy and you run a company and you go on holiday a lot, I have a team member that will comment if I'm not online. And so I don't mind saying that, because I want my account to do well. They can comment as me. And for as long as time people have got support from their team to do marketing. And LinkedIn for me is marketing. And so I think it's worth bearing in mind that when someone tells you you have to be online 3 hours a day to comment, do not listen to them, because that's not how you build a company. That's not how you build a business. Not sitting online all day hunched up replying on your phone. That's not business. Like that is bad decision making and poor use of time. This is really worth reading afterwards, but again, like I spoke about this in my community yesterday, and unfortunately my community is not a public one. Like we only take people who've done the accelerators with us. But like pain points, as in talk about the pain point more. Like, what is the emotional challenge or structural challenge that someone is dealing with? Talk about the feelings and emotions. And the best example I can give here is I obviously run the Creator Accelerator, and I've run it for a year and over a year now, and it has been crazy. Like, we've trained thousands of people, and a lot of the fastest growing people in the world. And it took me until the Creator Accelerator 3 for someone to say to me, do you know, Chris, the biggest benefit of doing the accelerator? And I was like, because I'm quite like objective. I was like leads, followers, network, community, and they were like confidence. They were like, I feel so much more confident in my own voice and in my own approach to work and business and life. Like, when you post so much, you practice speaking, you practice writing, you hone your voice. And so I then changed my marketing a little bit to say the Creator Accelerator gives you confidence, and we've never had better sales. And it especially resonated with women, because that was like the imposter syndrome was real about posting, and the accelerators have never done better off the back of that messaging. And so it's good practical use. Trying to think what I can sort of end on here. I'm going to do these 2 slides, if that's okay, to sort of end on that.
Yeah, of course.
So, so case studies. A bit of background here. When I first came on LinkedIn, I feel the platform was like personal posts and case studies and testimonials. Basically, that was it. Like, I didn't really see much like creativity. And yet, when you're building a personal brand, you have to be able to deliver good case studies and testimonials from time to time. That doesn't mean every day. Like, if you see me, I do them basically every 3 to 4 weeks. And so like I use education content, personal content to build brand and build followers and build value and trust. And then I will do a case study, and that just bombs in terms of success. It does not do well, like bad likes, low performance, low reach, but then the conversion in Stripe is crazy. So these posts that say, I've worked with Dr. Caroline Frost, I've worked with Will McTighe, like I've taught these people to be the best creators in the world. When I post those, they only get like 300 likes or something. But then in your, leads or sales, they have a massive conversion rate. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about the fact that if like me, I believe so strongly in you cannot have a case study that someone can't go and check. So like, how many case studies do you see where someone goes, oh, I helped Joe Blogs go from X to Y? And it's like, who is Joe Blogs and where are they? Like, where can I find them? I want to ask them whether you were successful or not. And so with me, any case study I ever release, you can go and talk to the person. And so I've now released 250 case studies, and you can go and talk to 250 people. And so that is where like unbelievable trust is built, because people can't question the results. I mean, they can get annoyed with you, but they can't question the results. And the last thing I would finish on is my account has definitely morphed over the last 2 months. And for anyone who watches my content, you will see that it has. And we're kind of calling it like content match type. We're now posting so much about the thing that we do, as opposed to everything else, and going very, very deep on it during a sales period. So lead magnets, giveaways, downloadables, high-res PDFs, like all this sort of stuff in exchange for emails. And my account growth has still been like maybe 1,000 followers a day, roughly, which is really low for me. But I've never had faster growth in my email. I've never had more sales. And I think that people need to understand that different content results in different things. And so if I do a personal post about my wife and our life and all that sort of stuff, I get thousands of comments. People being like, I love seeing into your life. I love seeing like your wife is beautiful, all this sort of stuff. But that post never drives any leads or like anything, If I do an education post, it's not driving leads either, but it's driving audience and trust and people coming to me as a thought leader. If I post a case study or a lead magnet, they're coming into my funnel directly. And so you've got to understand there isn't just one type of post, there's lots of types. And so that is it for me today, but I will send through the PDF. And if you have any questions now, I can take a bunch of questions if that would help.
Yep, of course. We have a lot of comments from Ella, but mostly she is just she's saying you giving out great advice. Well, you were a bit before you started talking about the posting times. She actually had that question, so you kind of you know you jumped into it, you went through it. The last question we have, it's a bit of a throwback. I think maybe the person wasn't here in the very beginning of the live, but reposting times. Do you find your posts are being shown for weeks on end now? I feel like recently it matters less and less when you post.
I mean, yeah, I just post when my audience comes online. I really they come online at 8 a.m., 9 a.m. East, and that's when I post every day. And it's because at the end of the day, if the post succeeds, the post will be delivered for probably a week to come. I see posts of mine that have got like 100,000 likes from 6 months ago still getting liked. And so I just post consistently every day because I want my audience to expect and come to expect that from me. But I mean, if I was newer to the platform, I would probably experiment more. If I was newer to the platform, I would maybe mix it up and see what works best for me. But I've done that for a long time now. I used to post at 9 a.m. UK time. And then I was like, well, 2/3 of my purchasing customers are from the States. And so I was like, I'll switch that up.
Yeah, thank you. That really is a great insight. The fact that you should think about your audience when you post in terms of content, but also in terms of timing as well. Yeah, thank you so much for joining in today. And yeah, if there's anything else that you'd like to share, any closing words or remarks?
No, I think that the reality behind the whole thing is to do this stuff long term, it's exhausting. It's so tiring. It takes up so much time. And so I always say to the people that I work with, I don't do it for fun. I don't do it for ego. I do it because it gives my businesses and myself an unfair advantage in everything. When you build a personal brand, you get invited to speak everywhere. You get invited to be on the panel everywhere. Your business gets seen by more people. And so I would try and take the emotion out of it. I would try and take the emotion and the ego out of all of this stuff and just say to yourself that I believe that if my personal brand and I am known more, my business will benefit more. And by doing that, you make it into a strategic choice rather than an emotional one. So if my posts ever bomb, and they always do, good posts and bad posts, it's not like I ever have a reaction to it. It's just like, okay, probably won't do that again, maybe switch it up again. And then the last thing I'd say is I really feel in training thousands of entrepreneurs that it's like darkest before the dawn. Just before people want to give up, they will have a breakthrough. They'll have a post that does really well. They'll have a post that they'll finally, get the right design and the right post and the right hook and whatever. I believe anyone can do this stuff. I don't believe in gatekeeping at all. And so, yes, I obviously sell products because I'm a business person. But at the same time, the reason I give out all my stuff for free is I hate gatekeeping. I hate it with a passion. And so I just want everyone to know that with all the free information out there, my stuff and other people's, there's so many amazing creators, you can learn it. You can learn it, you can do it. It's going to take you a lot of time, but the benefit is so significant, I can't tell you.
Yeah, that's some great closing words because yeah, a lot of our audience and a lot of the questions that we have running through this live really do have to do a lot of the times with confidence, with how to do it, with advice like these. So it's something that everyone wants to hear. And thank you so much for joining in, and yeah, for presenting the report in front of us. You told the audience several times, but anyone that wants to reach out either to us or to you to get the report, it's free, it's out there. I advise everyone to read it. I advise everyone to follow Chris because he has, amazing insights, and the reports that he puts out, the content that he puts out are, yeah, it's wildly good. It's not gate kept. It's out there. It's for free. Go and learn, people.
See you later. Lovely to see you all. Take it easy. Bye.
Bye,
Bye
Chris.
bye.
Thank you. Wow.
That was lovely.
What can we say? It was quite a performance, I would say. The intake, the insights, all the good stuff that Chris mentioned to all of us was pretty much. I would personally call it invaluable, as for me personally, it was. I hope that for all of the viewers now and for the viewers afterwards, it would also be. I think no more topics should be opened after this. After this great performance of Chris, after this great presentation, I'm I'm more curious. Any comments from you girls about the things he mentioned? Anything interesting you probably saw? Anything that surprised you probably?
Daddy, do you want to start or should I?
Yeah, I was going to say, Chris flew through a lot of information for us. There was the whole traffic thing. There was a lot of insightful, I feel like, takes, but the note that he ended on about, confidence, about ego, about the fact that a lot of people put, I would say, too much emotion sometimes, especially when it comes to social media. And then he spoke about it a lot. But what he's doing it for his personal, for his business, for his personal gain, but also for the people that follow him. He doesn't want to gatekeep. He wants to give people confidence. But in that process, he's not only benefiting other people, he's also managing to benefit himself. So that's why he's viewing it and trying to view it in a non emotional way, in a business way. And it's a very, very good take. I feel like a lot of people that say, I'm stopped by the lack of confidence, I'm stopped by a lack of skill, I'm stopped by a lack of experience can learn from that. Because if you're, doing it and you're emotionally detaching yourself from it, from, maybe the potential embarrassment or the potentials, I don't know, or the potentials of like, well, how will people view me? What is my background? How can I say this? How can I say that? The moment you really do manage to detach yourself and to think, I'm doing this so that I can grow, and I can grow my business, or I can grow, whether it's a personal business, whether it's a company venture. The moment you see that and the moment you try to get into that mindset, it can really change things up for you.
Hmm. I completely agree with that. And this was also something that really struck me as a nice takeaway from the conversation. For me, I personally really like his take on the using AI tools. This has been sort of a debate because, on one hand, they are incredibly helpful in some aspects. On the other, we have seen that, well, they can cause a lot of harm when used carelessly and without the previous knowledge. So I like the fact that he mentioned that when you are using AI tools, it is a good thing to do it consciously and not to just generate content to no end. This is actually among the topics that LinkedIn CEO discussed recently with Bloomberg, where he actually mentioned on the fact that not a lot of people, or at least not as much as he expected, are using the AI generated writing suggestions on LinkedIn. There is a bit of reluctance in professionals to do that, which I feel is a good thing, because for me at least it signifies that we are trying to keep the platform close to what we believe should be said, and we keep on sharing our professional view and our experiences in a less filtered and less polished way, um, which I think it's a good thing. Another very interesting thing for me from the conversation was what he said about not listening to LinkedIn's advice on what to do on the platform. He specifically mentioned video. That is something that I will need to work on my mind as well for a bit, because I too believe that LinkedIn advices should be taken with a grain of salt, but I do believe that they are sort of a guideline to what the platform's priority will be. We can see that video is definitely a priority for LinkedIn, and very recently, even they started to roll out upgrades for article covers. Articles are one of my favorite things to read on LinkedIn, and newsletters as well. Now, LinkedIn is trying to upgrade the covers from image only to also for us users to be able to record a simple video that is engaging and to put that on the cover. And personally, I am very, very interested in what our community will do with this new feature. Emma, how do you feel? Because you take care of a lot of newsletters. How do you feel about this new feature where creators and people will be able to shoot a horizontal video and attach that to their newsletter or their article?
It's something that I would definitely test myself, actually. Um, Something really interesting when you are mentioning articles and videos, and Chris also mentioned it. Um, People are recycling and reusing content all the time, and you rarely land on something new within the digital platforms, as everything, kind of everything, the majority of the content ideas were ever used somewhere. Doesn't matter if they got trendy, if they got viral, they were used somewhere. So if you see a great idea, if you see a great creator, don't hesitate to just share it on your personal feed, reuse it, but put your own intake, put your own thoughts, put your own effort and your own heart into the publication yourself, and make it unique this way. Don't um, reuse it, but put a sprinkle of your own self into it, and customize it as per your audience, as per your brand, as per your vision and kind of image. And I'm mentioning this as I see that a lot of publications are actually recycled into reused into um, articles, into videos, and so on and so forth. So yeah, girls, I believe that we can kind of wrap it up for today. It was a great conversation. I love the fact that we had the opportunity to meet, I would say, a celebrity in the digital marketing field, a person who sold out two businesses for 7, 8 figure amounts in the UK. So yeah, we were kind of blessed to have the opportunity, and Dari especially to have the opportunity to speak with him directly, one to one. As I mentioned earlier in this live stream, we won't be having an edition in August, so see you back on September. Let me just see the exact date. I believe it's the 5th of September. So see you on the 5th of September at 10 uh, Central European Time, or 11 if you're watching in Bulgaria. Um, as I'm always finishing this live stream from my side, Don't forget to drink water, as it's very hot outside, and the sun can hit you and strike you out of nowhere. Have a great summer. In case you have any questions, doesn't matter what kind of questions, always feel free to message us. Both Bookmark as a page, or Teddy, Dari, or me. And see you in September.